Alright, so today I'm going to take some time to talk about construction and the terrible, sorry state that it's in. Now, we all thought with the release of OSHR that construction was going to get some quality of life improvements that were going to be pretty nice. Some small things like snapping or not interacting with stuff that's below the ground anymore was the ideal. However, we got nothing. So let's go over some of the problems that exist within the construction system. And we got to start from the top, which is that cordium sucks and is the most boring part of the whole construction system. Gathering cordium is the most boring thing you'll ever do, and you're also at your most vulnerable during this state when you're going around getting cordium to running into a random lightning or an air-to-ground ESF or even a liberator. Now, ever since the removal of cloak, you haven't really had a way to potentially escape them because you have no concealment options besides maybe running smoke, which is a terrible idea and is not really going to get you out of things. And even if you do manage to get your and loaded up with cordium, you still have to build a base. So building, it can be pretty stressful in that you have no way to have any pre-builds laid out, so you don't have any templates to work off of, and you pretty much just have to freehand everything, which if anyone has done any kind of editing ever, is fucking terrible, and shortcuts are amazing. So now that you've managed to place down your silo and you got your first buildings down, lining up your walls to make sure that there are no gaps between them is one of the worst things you can ever do, because there will always be some kind of bullshit issue of things clipping into things, or there's just going to be uneven terrain that makes it so that it's impossible to line things up properly. So construction is pretty shit. Now, the other bit is setting up your spawn tube so that then it's not in a vulnerable position is also quite difficult because you don't know how far below the ground some of your key buildings go. For instance, you can place a silo inside of an infantry tower and of a pillbox. However, you have to set it up so that then the floor of the pillbox extends far enough below the ground so that then it doesn't interact with the spawning tube. And it's terrible to try and do without any kind of way to know if you're doing it right or not, besides just trial and error over and over again and learning from those experiences, which is a terrible way to introduce this to new players and even veteran players who kind of want to get into it for the first time. So construction fucking sucks in that respect. Building is terrible. The interfaces are terrible. The controls you have over your silos and your terminals is laughable. You can only set it up at the 20,000 mark. So if there's 20,000 or more, anyone can use it and you have no way to stop that. Now, if it's under 20,000, you can light it so that then anyone in your platoon or squad can use it, but that's really about it. You can't even lower it if you wanted pubbies to come and use it down to the very last drop. You're trying to defend your base. You've got blueberries all over the place. You've got a light vehicle terminal, but no one can pull anything except you, and it's fucking dog shit as you're getting torn up by, say, 2 lightnings and a vanguard. It just feels terrible. Now, this is also where I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat, and I'm going to say construction contributes to server lag. Now, you got to think about it like this. Do you all remember when spitties were everywhere and everyone was using them, how terrible the servers were? Then, every single turret that once it gets the AI module is trying to track targets exactly like a Spitfire. Each person can effectively have 3 of those turrets going at all times. Then there are also repair modules that are constantly trying to fix everything within its radius. So there are a whole bunch of background things that are happening on the server side because of construction, and I think it's one of the key contributors to lag. You all notice that whenever there's a double XP weekend or double XP anything, that the number of construction bases goes through the roof and server performance fucking craters every time. It happens a lot on Esamir, it happens a lot on Indar. Amrish isn't really friendly to bases as much, same with Hassan, less friendly to bases, and I've found that personally there has been less lag on those continents during those time periods. With all the checks that are going on with that, it's just brutal. I'm going to go with my one final thing for quality of life that I really wish would happen. It's not even about construction, it's about the map. Getting a map interface that would show you no deploy zones for your buildings, areas where your flail darts will be destroyed, or even just heck, you could even extend this to sunder or no deploy zones. Getting that information would be huge to being able to plan out where you can put bases instead of using whatever kind of bullshit experimental crap you have to do nowadays to find that out. Anyways, this was me rambling about construction on a completely unrelated video display of what's going on, since that's how things go in PlanetSide, talk about something that's completely unrelated to being what's shown on screen. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. See you.